Hey, what's up guys? Kadachi here, and welcome back to the channel. I got another build for you guys, and this is going to be, if not one of the best build ideas I've tried so far, though I do love my Bloodlands. It's going to be double basic attack bleed Barb with charge incorporated. Before I get into the video, I'm going to go over some of my opinions on the Barb class. So let's get into it. So I first want to start off by saying Barbs are broken. Oh my, no, they're not broken. Okay, they're broken. Yeah, they're the best class in the game, though. Hands down, everybody already knows that. But that doesn't mean that it needs to be nerfed. I just think every other class needs to be buffed to be on par with the Barb. Everybody just should be able to have a build that can dish out crazy amounts of damage. Maybe not one shot a boss, but at least my goal when I'm making a video is that it can, melt the boss at a pretty satisfiable rate. Other than that, I don't think Barb should be nerfed at all. Just buff all the other classes, please. Second, other classes need more aspects. You play a Barb, you see you have like 4 weapons. So much can be done with that. I play my other characters, and though I'm having fun making my builds, I see that I am limited by just that one aspect that could be there. Just by having another item, whether it be defensive or offensive, which is why I see people are snapshotting. I don't even know how to do it. I've never tried it, but I've seen it, I've heard about it, and I can see how that can make a build even stronger than it is, because you get to add another offensive aspect that you wouldn't really do in another build, even though you're copying it. But yeah. With this build here, I really noticed that, yes, Barb has a complete catalog of builds that you can try. You don't really have to run Hoda. I mean, I'm not a really big fan of Hoda. I'm not a big fan of hammers, but it's super fun. I see the one-shotting charge. I'm actually kind of glad they added that. Though them adding that technically just gives Barb metamorphosis, which is what they should have added for all the classes, because you really have infinite uptime on your charge and unlimited unstoppable with an exploit glyph, which makes things vulnerable, plus your pet. So yeah, they I don't know what they were thinking with that, but yeah, charge is pretty crazy. Rin is still pretty crazy. If you ask me, this build here, the basic attack bleed, I actually enjoy this a lot more than Rin. You can still add charge to a Ren build and have the maneuverability, but I just enjoyed the sheer speed and the lunge from using lunging strike, so that was good too. But that's really all I have to say about the Barb. It was very fun to play. Probably gonna make another one in the future. Hopefully we get to see some more creativity down the line, and I hope they buff the other classes too. So yeah, let's get straight into the build. Alright, so for starters, you're going to want a helmet with total armor, max life cooldown, and if you're good on resistances, you can go with damage while berserking, but I'm not fine on resistance, so I went with a resistance that I needed. For the chest piece, you can go with a triple or quad damage reduction chest piece, simply because you probably don't need total armor on the chest piece. If you're running Juggernaut and you have a max roll, you should have enough just from having total armor from your helmet and some from the Paragon board. You should reach total armor cap, which is the beauty of Juggernaut. So yeah, quad damage reduction chest piece if you're good on armor cap. Next, we're going to be using the paingorgers, of course. Try to get a high roll on that. Next, we're going to run Tibbles. Turnabout has damage reduction from close, which is good. We're able to run that because we, of course, are pretty good on armor cap. For the boots, I do not have a good pair of boots. What you really want, because it really makes this build a lot better, is triple evade charge boots because of the Juggernaut, or attack to reduce evade cooldown, but preferably triple evade charge boots. Mine are pretty trash, but you want triple res on them, preferably with movement speed. For the amulet, my amulet, I am very satisfied with what I have. Triple damage reduction with cut to the bone, which is our bleed damage passive on our skill tree. Pretty good. You could go with double damage reduction and movement speed if you don't want to be slow, but I don't mind. We are using charge, so we are going to be moving around quite quickly. We're going to be using X-Falls for our bleed procs, and for the ring, this is where the build gets really fun. So for the bosses, I tend to use a legendary ring with the adaptability aspect. For Nightmare Dungeons, we will be using Ring of the Ravenous for our charge, but if you really want to focus the basic attack, and you can still run this ring, a legendary ring with the adaptability, and charge will still be viable. You're going to see in the gameplay and end of the video, charge is still viable even without the Ring of the Ravenous, and it's still pretty fun. You're more than likely just one-shotting things with your basic attack. For the weapons, you're just going to want the same stats for each weapon. You want all stats, strength, vulnerable damage for the bleed passive in the Paragon, and damage while berserking for the berserking passive in the Paragon. So, you want the same thing here, and same thing here. I'm missing one stat, so let's hope I can get that in the future. This is what you are going to want in the build. Ramletons. I think he comes from Grigor, if I'm not wrong. Farm this out. This is going to be where you get the most damage from. Back into Maximum Fury in the Paragon. Comes from max. I have a low roll Maximum Fury. If I had 30, I'd be cooking right now. But yeah, try to get a good roll on this, because this is going to be where most of your damage is coming from. And we're going to want Amethyst Jewels for the damage over time, more bleed. For boss killing, we use Tusshelm. I don't really use that for Nightmare Dungeons at all. And fun fact, any of the footage that I've seen in this video is done without Uber Uniques. Shaco, I've tested it out. Shaco, Melted Heart, and I've also tested this out. You can test it out yourself, but I feel like Grandfather is not good for this build. In my opinion, I want my legendary aspects. I tried to take off elements and put Edge Masters on, but I just enjoyed the build without using Grandfather, which is actually great. So you can get a Grandfather, try it out for yourself. If it's not good, just don't use it, and that's great. Shaco, you don't need it, but if you get it, it just helps the build even more. Melted Heart, if you get one of those, you're basically an immortal Barb, because you're using your basic attack to fill up your Fury, and you're basically going to have infinite Fury. So if you have Melted Heart, if you have Shaco, you can use those, but I didn't really want to rely on Uber Uniques. I was in no rush to get them. If you have them, definitely check them out. Same with the stones. For the stones, we're going to have Flash of Adrenaline and Tempest with breaking support to make enemies vulnerable, Fortify to proc our Fortify damage bonus in our passive tree, and arcing support for multiple vulnerable enemies. Flash of Adrenaline, I'm going to have Safeguard, Tactical, and Duration. I honestly have not farmed for my Uber Unique stones, which is fantastic for you guys, because if you have Genesis on a Barb, you can slap that on Flash of Adrenaline, and you're going to be doing so much more damage than what you've seen in the video. So definitely try to get that, and even with Evernight, it's going to give you so much more damage than what you've seen in the video. So definitely, if you guys have those, check them out. For the expertise, we're gonna go with the two-handed sword because we want the 20% bleed damage on direct hits. Plus, when you're doing Nightmare Dungeons, 30% multiplicative bleed damage is pretty freaking good. So yeah, we're gonna just go with that. Moving along to the skill tree, we're gonna start with Flay and Lunging Strike. Boost those up to 5. You want the bleed on Lunging Strike, and for Flay, you want the multiplicative bleed damage on hit. So the combination would be to strike with Flay, then hit with Lunging Strike continuously. Let's move down here. We're gonna grab Imposing Presence for the additional max life. Tough as nails. I've been testing this out. I believe this gives more damage as a bleed stack itself, or it helps with X-Fault proc. I have to do more testing with it. I could be wrong, but when I take it off, I feel like I do less damage. So I definitely should do some more testing with that. Next, we're gonna go with Warcry for more damage. Our charge. So when it comes to charge ranks and cooldowns, when I was saying you don't need to run the ring for Nightmare Dungeons, if you don't run the Ring of the Ravenous for Nightmare Dungeons, your charge is going to be at 5 ranks and it's going to be on about a 2-second cooldown with the cooldown reduction helmet. 1 to 2 seconds at most, probably 1.5. But if you run the Ring of the Ravenous with a cooldown reduction helmet and charge at 5 ranks, you will have its cooldown at about 1 second, if not just right away. So you don't need to have it over like 8-9 ranks. You don't need the +3/+4 charge pants unless you want to be tankier without Tibalts. But I would rather run Tibalts to get the damage, and you're already pretty tanky. But if you find yourself not being tanky enough, definitely just put on some pants with a +4 ranks to charge. But yeah, that's it for that. This is where a lot of our damage is coming from. You want this passive. When a brawling skill damages at least one enemy, you gain berserking for 3 seconds. So anytime we use charge, which we will have up at almost every given moment in time, that's infinite brawling and infinite damage, multiplicative damage actually. From our passive, when you're berserking, you pretty much get 100% multiplicative damage. So any skill that makes you berserk, i.e. our ultimate skill or Warcry or charge, will give you more damage. So I have 2 variations for this build. I forgot to actually change it. Rupture, pretty much you only use this for bosses, right? And you're pretty much going to be running Iron Skin. I like to run Iron Skin. Some people run, this is going to be full defensive, so I run Iron Skin and I take off the ultimate and I run the Challenging Shout just for the full defensive of the build. So for bossing, you run ultimate and Rupture for the attack speed. You literally just press A before you start doing full damage and you get the attack speed proc, and that's going to be it for that. You want Cut to the Bone, you can get it on the amulet as well. I usually go with counter offensive, but I just recently switched it over to Slaying Strike, which is what I got the Lilith kill with and the Duriel kill with. So I'm leaning more towards this. I do like injured damage. I've learned that from the Necro, that injured damage is pretty freaking good. But I do see that some builds don't run that and prefer counter offensive. Down here we're gonna get Duelist for the attack speed. Attack speed is so big in this build. The more attack speed you can get, the better in my opinion. And Tempered Fury, because the more max fury, the more damage you're gonna be doing with the build. Also forgot to mention, you're gonna want Booming Voice. Two stacks is fine, honestly. Just to keep your Warcry and your Challenging Shout up just for a little bit more. And that's going to be it for that. So let's start with the Paragon board. We're going to take the normal route as per usual. You're going to want Ire here. This is where you get the most damage while berserking, if I'm sure, which is going to give you pretty much your your biggest damage boost. Thanks to the legendary note up here. We're going to grab this right away. Pretty much the more damage while berserking you have, the more damage you're going to get just for having the stat. I'm sure everybody knows that by now. Damage while berserking over here. We're gonna go up through here, and well, I don't even have this activated. That's crazy. I probably didn't even have this activated for the boss kills, but we're gonna put ambidextrous here for the 8% multiplicative damage with one-handed. I'm definitely gonna activate that once I'm done. Come up here. We're gonna be grabbing Carnage for the attack speed while berserking. It's pretty crazy. More damage while berserking up here. We're gonna get Imbiber because the damage while health the increase is pretty freaking nasty. More damage while berserking down here. You don't really need these unless you want more duration on it, but you don't really need them. We're gonna come all the way over here. We're gonna grab Hemorrhage, which is gonna give us a nice damage on our bleeds. So you're gonna want vulnerable damage stat on pretty much all your weapons and any gear you can put it on. And if you want, you can grab the Lacerator node over here, but you don't have to. Just a little bit more damage. Next, we're gonna be putting in Wrath because this is a big critical strike damage boost for our X-Falls. It's gonna be pretty great. My biggest crit I've seen so far is like 7 mil on an X-Falls with the basic attack. So I think that's pretty good. Lastly, this is like our biggest page. I just recently changed to this and it was very noticeable in the damage increase. It's gonna be Warbringer, and you're gonna want the maximum fury nodes here because the more maximum fury you have, the more damage you're gonna get from Ramladins, and we took Blood Feeder. I played around with a few of the glyphs, but I really did like Blood Feeder. I tried Exploit, which is pretty good too. You can change out Blood Feeder for Exploit if you don't like it, but this is just what I decided to stick with, and that's gonna be really it for the Paragon board. Link in the description for the entire planner, and yeah, that's gonna be it for that.
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I'm not ready yet. I'm afraid. quit. I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
If you guys did enjoy the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It will be greatly appreciated. This build here is probably one of my best pieces of work, and I am pretty proud of it. Doesn't mean that much as Diablo 4, but I did enjoy making it. More builds to come for sure. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.